Hello and welcome. In this video, we will learn how to simplify the grammar by removing epsilon production. In last video, we have discussed that there are three ways of simplifying grammar. We can simplify it by removing useless symbols, or by removing epsilon productions, or by removing unit productions. In last video, we have learned how to remove the useless symbols by removing non-generating symbols and by removing non-reachable symbols. In this particular video, we will learn that how we can make our grammar epsilon free by removing the epsilon productions. So let us first understand what epsilon production is. So production of the form A gives epsilon is called a null production or the epsilon production. So for any grammar G with epsilon production, we can always write another grammar G1 which is equivalent to G and which will be epsilon free. So we can say that L of G1 is same as L of G minus epsilon. To do so, first we have to find out all the nullable variables. So let us understand what nullable variable is. Symbol X is called nullable if there is a direct production of the form X gives epsilon, or if X is of the form X gives alpha, and if all the symbols of alpha are null, then we can say that X is also nullable. And once we find the nullable variables, then we have to add productions with nullable variables removed, and finally we have to remove all the epsilon productions from the grammar. Let us try to understand with the help of example. Consider this is the grammar and we have to remove the epsilon productions from this. So first step is to find the nullable variable. So there are two definitions. First definition is very trivial. It says that if any production is of the form A derives epsilon, then that A is nullable variable. So right now we have two such productions, A derives epsilon and B derives epsilon. So A and B are nullable. From the rule 2, if we have production of the form A gives alpha, and if all the symbols of alpha are nullable, then A is also nullable. So in the first production, S gives ABA, and A and B both are nullable, and so is the S. S is also nullable. So our nullable set of symbols is SAB. Now in second step, we have to replace all these nullable symbols by appropriate production. So we have to add productions with nullable variables removed. So one by one we will be removing the nullable variable and we will see how many new productions we can find. So the first production we have to write down as it is, S gives ABA. And now by removing the nullable variables, we can find different combinations of this. So if we set no symbol as nullable, if we do not replace any symbol, then S will give us ABA as it is. We can set the last symbol as a null, so we will have S gives AB. We can set the first symbol, that is capital A, as a null, so we will get the production S gives BA. We can set B as a null, in that case we will get S gives AA. Or we can set B and A as a null, so we will get S gives A. And if we set both the A's as null, then we will get S gives B. And if we replace A and B both as a null, then our production would be S gives epsilon. So this is what the productions we have generated from one production, that is S gives ABA. Same we have to repeat for remaining all the productions. So we have A gives AA or epsilon, which we can write it as a, first one is A gives AA. In this production, capital A is nullable, so we have to remove it. So we will only be left with A gives A. And we have one more production, that is A gives epsilon. Similarly, for production B gives BB or epsilon, we can write the first production, we have to write it as it is. Then all nullable variables in this production we have to set as a null. So there is only one variable, that is capital B on right hand side. When we set it as a null, we will get the production of the form B gives B. We have one more production of the form B gives epsilon. So all three productions are processed. In step 3, we have to combine all of them and we have to remove all the epsilon productions from the grammar. So for the production of S, we can put all them together separated by pipe. So we have S gives ABA, oblique AB, oblique BA, oblique AA, oblique A, oblique B. The last production, that is S gives epsilon, that we have to remove. Similarly for A, we have two production, that is A gives AA or A. A gives epsilon we have to remove. And for the productions of B, again we have two production. The third one, B gives epsilon, would be removed. So this is the grammar which is epsilon free and it is equivalent to the original grammar. Let us take one more example. We have to remove epsilon productions from this grammar. In step 1, we have to find out all the nullable variables. So from rule 1, We already have two productions of the form A gives epsilon, that is, and B gives epsilon. So A and B are nullable. From the rule 2, S gives AB is having both the right hand side symbols nullable, and hence S is also nullable. So the nullable set of symbols would be S, A and B. Now we will take one by one all the productions and we will replace all the variables, nullable variables with the epsilon. So S gives AB we can write like this. The first we have to keep it as it is. If we replace B by epsilon, then we will get S gives A. If we replace A by epsilon, then we will get S gives B. And if we replace A and B both by epsilon, then we will get S gives epsilon. For the production of A gives A double A oblique epsilon, we can write it as A gives A double A as it is. Then if we replace one A by epsilon, then we will get A gives A capital A. If we replace both the A by epsilon, then we will get A gives A. And we already have one production called A gives epsilon. Similarly, for production of B, that is B gives B capital B oblique epsilon, we can write, initially we will write the original production as it is. Then we will replace one B on right hand side by epsilon. So we will get B gives small b capital B. And if we replace both the B by epsilon, because B are nullable variable, so we will get only B gives small b. And we already have one production B gives epsilon that we will add. And in step 3, we have to collect all these productions and we will simply remove epsilon productions from this grammar. So we can rewrite the simplified grammar as S gives AB or A or B. The last production will be removed. For A, we will have three productions, that is A gives small a, capital A, or small a, capital A, or small a. And same is true for the productions of B. So this is the epsilon free grammar equivalent to the original grammar. Thank you. That's it for today, folks. See you in next video. If you think this video was useful to you, then please like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe the channel CodeCrucks. Press the bell icon for the notification of latest videos. Stay connected, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.